my words, O path abiding
Hungry
people
for
of this
arcane
holy
secrets?
city.
I have books, scrolls, potions, anything.
Come
for
to
friends
your
who paths abiding
Shamgash
magic.
and buy fish. Only the best and fresh
Apples,
from the Red
dates,
Sea.
bananas, the
Spices,
freshest fruits
rugs,
right from the farmer's
delicacies,
coast.
only the best.
Have you heard?
Straight from
Nerem has been
Morala's
united
blessings,
again.
my friend.
But their leader must be a monster.
Well,
They say
flee
he's
isn't exactly
crucifying
the
priests
right
and burning
word
down
for it.
temples.
I call it
I'm not
tactical
surprised the gods turn
relocalization.
their backs on them.
Only a stupid businessman will try to sell spices amidst a civil war. Well, they are blasphemy. What else? The gods have reigned win for millennia. Whoever thinks one could just kill the gods as they could kill a rabbit must be another fool. Oh, well, after those rumors about the Lightborn's death started, the council members must have thought, now's the time for power struggles. Very stupid if you ask me, and very bad for the economy. Thank the sun I was one of the few who fled early enough, but this madness has cost far too many lives. Far too many. Spices, rugs, delicacies, only the best. Straight from Kile. Take a look. Farewell.
Can I help you?
All for the well-dressed miser, and walk bless all your heart could ever desire. Take a look. May his light guide you. Come back if you find the time. Hard times these are. Hard.
Huh? Can I help you?
Yes. Of course. Greetings. Do you need a... Oh, how nice of you to ask. I can't complain. I suppose the wars in Calais and Kira make it harder to get your hands on certain wares. But still, life's good. Definitely more comfortable than my time on the road, though.
Apples, dates, bananas.
What? No, I was a vagabond, as people... A traveling mage. You know, I just felt need to, I don't know, get out.
Monsieur?
Some of this world.
Uh-huh.
So after I did the passage to the water...
Information?
That is...
What do you mean?
After the order taught me how to use my magic path.
Who adorn themselves with the name Disciples of the Sand have, in an act of limitless
Let
cowardice,
me see.
attempted to storm the palace of
That's not very much, but
For arcane
fine.
secrets, I have books, scrolls,
A couple of moons ago, I had a really strange guy as a customer. He wore 2 sabers, like those coal people do, but when he moved, he was really swift about it, like he was some kind of thief. I think he was an assassin, as they call them. Quiranian contract killers. You can hide within a fortress, but they'll find you. Somehow break into your room and kill you in your sleep. And unlike those everyday scroungers, they know how to wield a sword, like Loram Waterblade did. Who knows? Maybe that'll help you.
For our brothers and sisters across the Red Sea. Let us pray for Saldrin.
What? That wasn't enough? Huh. Let me think. Yeah. There was that wench once, a farmer. She came running into the city as if chased by the Black Guardian and told the guards something about an ambush on her farm. Nothing unusual, you could say, especially nowadays, but apparently the bandits were led by a mage. And, well, if you can believe that farmer woman, she conjured the sunfire down from the sky. Green fire, lightning, the living dead rising from the ground, a wild mage. In other words, one of those sinistropes. But she also knew elemental magic like the keepers do. I wouldn't want to come across someone like her. Now, I just put them out for you to look at. Tell me what you need, and be quick about it. Walk blessed.
Walk blessed.
Hello.
Well, look who's arrived. Did you have any problems finding your way around? This city can be quite a maze if you don't know it. Keep your chin up.
Malphus's blessing, dear sir. Might I interest you in a ware from my most exquisite assortment? I am certain you will find something. May his light guide you.
Have you heard the
Come
news
back
about
if
the
you
Magister?
find the time.
Word has it that he murdered 30 novices, then killed himself.
Walk blessed, my sir. How can Sylvan and friends serve you today? Would you like to open a personal vault? Or perhaps even acquire an estate? Of course. Walk blessed! And don't a ledger. Your very own safe in our house, which we will manage on your behalf. We will meticulously track all your deposits and withdrawals, and best of all, thanks to our very generous interest rates, the longer you entrust your money with us, the more it proliferates on its own. Well, evidently this was a metaphor. Just imagine that, for every day your money rests in our vaults, we present you with some extra coin on top of it, as in appreciation for your trust, so to speak. Well, you see, this is a highly complicated process, and I fear it would be a matter of near impossibility to elucidate my response in such a fashion that you would be capable of comprehending it with your, I beg your pardon, most likely quite limited intellectual capabilities. Let us talk about more enjoyable matters instead, such as your money. Fine then. We use it to trade. We invest, for example, in promising expeditions on new trade routes. And from the returns those investments yield, we not only pay our employees, but your interest as well. Now, don't you look at me that way. We have to make a living somehow, too. Banks do not make mistakes. Didn't your parents teach you this? Now enough of this nonsense and back to business. Do you want to open a gold shelf or not? Very well. We will need a 100-penny deposit to start with. After that, you may make a withdrawal or deposit whenever you would like. Excellent. You will not regret this. Here, this is your personal safe key. This way, you may access your shelf even when we are closed. To make a deposit, simply talk to one of the bankers or put it on the shelf yourself. And should you acquire any shareholdings, simply give them to me and we will allocate them with your future interest. Well, holdings for something, a business, a caravan, things like that. But forgive me for saying so, you do not seem to be a man of means, so I don't suppose it will be relevant to you. Of course. Walk blessed! And don't forget, your money is safe with Sylvan and friends. Exceedingly safe, believe me.
Monsieur? Monsieur?
Hear my words, O path-abiding people of this holy city. A miracle has happened. A miracle that must have been.
Can I help you?
Have you heard the news about the Magister?
forth by
Word has it that he murdered 30. Important, then killed himself up in the
Ardenfield has
temple.
returned. Yes,
My
you have
mouth
heard
is what
right.
has become of this world.
The law. Heir to the throne, son of glorious past, after decades of imprisonment by his treacherous son. The esteemed Tretesha,
Hello.
Oh, hello. I haven't seen you around here before. Just take a look around and tell me if you see anything you like.
Hungry for arcane secrets?
That depends. Some I get from adventurers, some from other merchants, and some I gather myself in old ruins and the like. Or should I say, gathered. Nowadays, you can't even set foot into a deserted... Or should I say, gathered. Oh, a bit of this and that. Feel free to take a look. Blessed.
Fruits, vegetables, bread
comes a
fresh
point.
from the oven.
Looking for steel. Everything for the path-abiding soldier. Come again.
Don't ask. The wolves act as if they've been cursed, attacking anything and anyone on sight, and killing game they don't even eat afterwards. This must be the red madness everyone's talking about.
Bananas, the freshest fruit right from the farmer's
Blazes.
market in Doonville.
Where's this supposed to lead? I stay away from the Undercity and Ark. Nothing but flesh maggots and cutthroats down
Hungry
there.
for arcane secrets? I have books, scrolls, potions.
Farewell.
Anything for friends of Pathabite.
A foreigner, huh? What a surprise.
Rena Shalom, my sir. Are you Kirash? What gave me away? My skin or my accent? Well, I'll have to work on my disguise then. Jokes aside, I am from Kaira, but I was only 6 years old when my commune came to this country, and I'll have seen my 60th winter next month, so I suppose that makes me as Enderalian as most people around here. Oh, there were many reasons. Suffice it to say that Kaira isn't the glittering, exotic country of dreams and poems that bards make it out to be. I am glad to live here. You can say what you will about Enderal, but at least it's peaceful. Of course, chérie.
Monsieur?
That's it. And why is it Malphite
Have you
who
heard?
carries the Sun Temple
Nerem
on
has
his
been
back?
united again.
Isn't that a
But their
gesture of
leader must be a
servitude?
monster.
No,
They say he's
Malthus
crucifying
carries the
priests and
Sun
burning
Temple
down
because
temples.
he also carries humanity. Without the benevolence and sublimity of the gods, the world would still be at war, just as it was after the devastation of Starfall. Everything we have, we owe it to them.
Correct. The gods' reign is not driven by greed for power. Their highest endeavor is the preservance of peace and stability, no matter the cost. Keep that in mind, son. And honor the path Malphas has chosen for you. This is the only way of showing gratitude to all he and the Lightborn have done.
Have you heard? Nerem has been united again. But their leader must be a monster. They say he's crucifying priests and burning down
Oh, mostly pastries and sweets.
I'm not surprised.
Quite delicious, if I may say so.
A foreigner, huh? What a surprise.
Light fades away at the end of the day. Da-dum-dum.
You just can't depend on those sailors. How long do they expect me to wait for my shipment?
Bulls. Dates, bananas,
If it's clam
the
and
freshest
fish you
fruits
seek,
right from the
then
farmer's
come and
coast
take
and
a good long
Doonville.
peek.
You just wait and see. Fucking sissy.
Yeah, it's not as if I didn't tell them that already.
Fruits, vegetables, bread fresh
Can I
from
help
the
you?
oven. Treat yourself.
Walk. Sure, take a look. Walk blessed.
Can I help you? We always go too easy on the scum.
If it's clam and fish you seek, then come and take a good long peek.
Hear my words, O path-abiding people of this
Hungry?
holy city.
I've got just what a weary traveler needs.
You may have heard it already. There's war in Kira.
Hungry for arcane secrets? I have books, scrolls, potions, anything for friends of path-abiding magic.
Of limitless cowardice. Attempted to storm the
Greetings. Do you need a potion to...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
Apples, dates,
Gosh,
bananas,
and buy
the
fish,
freshest
only
fruits
the
right
best,
from the
and
farmer's
fresh
coast
from the
and
Red Sea.
Doonville.
Hungry for arcane... secrets? I have books, scrolls, potions, anything for friends of path-abiding magic.
Hello.
If it's
Yes? Yes?
Ahoy!
A penny, my sir. Please, just one penny.
A fellow traveler. Ha! Greetings. Advice, you mean? Let me think. Yeah, I recently heard of some guy in a tavern talk about some magic well. It's supposed to fulfill a wish if someone helps it or something like that. Who knows? Maybe there's some truth to it. Advice, you mean? Helen? It's supposed to fulfill a wish if someone helps it or something like that. Who knows? You have? Well, sure. Let me see. Or tell me what you need. Walk blessed.
Yes? Yes? Monsieur?
A foreigner, huh? What a surprise.
Oh, come on! Don't you think I see how you're slaving away? You can hardly put one foot before the other. Look how exhausted you are. And this arm, a way to ease your travels. A mount. And you know what? Today's your lucky day. If you agree to help me... Gnarldolf, a troll. For 2 months now, every night, I've been hearing this horrible, bloodthirsty grunting near the farm. The guard says I'm only imagining it, but trust me, I've seen enough of the world to know troll noises when I hear them. When it all started, the grunting came from back in the forest, but it's gotten closer each night, and I'm sure that thing is out for my animals. So, what do you say? You kill Gnarldolf for me, and in return, you will get one of my very best donkeys for free. Whirlwind. And believe me, he lives up to his name. What? That doesn't ring a bell? Gnarldolf? As in, the Gnarldolf? From the fairy tale, The Seraph and the Beast. Considering how horrible the grunting sounds, that name seemed fitting to me. But call him what you want, it doesn't matter, as long as you kill him. Oh, that should be pretty easy. Just wait until shortly after midnight and then scout the area. Eventually, you'll hear that grunting I told you about, then just find out where it comes from. And needless to say, be careful. You look like you can take care of yourself, otherwise I wouldn't have asked. But these beasts are not to be underestimated.
My sir, do you have a moment? What? Oh, yes, sure. What do you need? Well, it is actually quite simple. But since you were kind enough not to just ignore me and walk by as the others did, I would like to show my gratitude for that first. You travel a lot, don't you? I can tell by the mud on your boots. Here, one of these books might come in handy on your journeys. Which one do you prefer? Splendid! Say, would you happen to be interested in earning yourself some more coins? Or, even better, more books like those? There is something I need help with. I have a problem, and this problem is called Celia, which happens to be my sister. Where should I start? You know, I am one of those people who wasn't given everything by fate. Quite the contrary, in fact. When I was a child, the village I grew up in, Foamville, was ambushed by bandits, and both my father and my mother died during the attack. Thank you, but it's ancient history now. Fact is, my sister and I dealt with this event differently. We managed to flee the attack and make it to Ark, where the guards, of course, threw us into the Undercity. But while I tried to honor my father's heritage by using the little I could from our savings by setting up a business, she preferred to wallow in her misery instead. She got to know the wrong people and has, since then, never done a single bit of honest work. Frankly, she's a dust addict. Day and night she does nothing else but rot in those drinking holes in the Undercity and blows what little money she makes on her drage. Now, of course, she is still my sister, so all of these years I paid her rent so she doesn't have to sleep on the streets. However, things have changed. Recently she started using our father's heritage to pay for her addiction, and I will not accept that. Well, technically it's our money. Basically, it was a share our father had in a small business here. He was so proud of it, you wouldn't believe it. Luckily enough, I managed to save that paper from the bandits and turned it in at the bank a few years ago, after I realized how valuable it was. Since then, it has turned into quite a formidable sum. Nothing huge, of course, but enough to save my business from bankruptcy. You understand? In theory, it is our money, but without me, she would probably have sold it for a bottle of ale, and I won't let her spit on our father's heritage that way. Of course, you wouldn't know that. Glimmercap dust, the blue bliss, or however you want to call it. It's a drage, a dangerous one. Apparently, it makes you feel as if you're walking the eternal paths, but it also kills you quicker than the sunfire. I certainly could, but the day a guard voluntarily goes into the Undercity is the day a Vartia will become a barber. The Undercity belongs to Relata, and Celia knows that, which is why my hands are tied. Oh, believe me, I did. Which is why she simply hid the key to our safe in the bank somewhere that I couldn't find it. So, long story short, this is where you come in. I want you to get her to give me that key. How you do it is up to you, but if you succeed, it won't be to your disadvantage. Anywhere there's rats and dust, but she spends most of her time in the False Dog in the Undercity, one of those dumps I told you about. Just come back to me once you've found something.
Yes?
Bread! Taste it now, our unrivaled fresh and tasty bread! You there! You look as if you could do with a fine loaf of our unrivaled fresh and tasty bread. I can see it in your eyes.
Oi, you there. Don't look at me like that. Looking for trouble, eh?
Yes?
My sir?
So much to do, so little time.
Yes?
Walk blessed, friend. Where are you headed? How about Myrids? What is there to tell? They're beautiful animals, majestic and wild, and dangerous if you're unlucky enough to run into an untamed one. In the time before the Blood Moon Revolt, a long time ago, tame Myrids like this one here was a really rare sight. Nowadays, though, they're pretty common, at least here at Enderal. Pity, somehow. I guess that sounds stupid, but I sometimes long for the times my grandfather lived in. Being a Myrid warden was far more prestigious back then, and even fared with sublime or keepers. Nowadays, well, you can guess. Riding a Myrat has become as ordinary as riding a mule. But, who am I to complain? Oh, well, that's hard to explain. They communicate by clicking sounds. I, as a warden, have been trained to hear them, but you probably can't. And through those clicking sounds, I also tell them where you want to go, before you mount them. Obviously, that only works for routes that the Myrat already knows by heart.
Huh? Can I help you?
Have you heard the news about the Magister? Word has it that he murdered 30 novices. Move along. Then killed himself up in the temple. By Malphus, what has become of this world?
Can't you tell? The floorboards can barely stand the pressure. Jokes aside, look around. We do not. In the old days, people cared more for the history of our country. But since this Red Madness thing and Arantheel's return, the number of visitors has sadly declined steadily. But that's just how it is. Well, aren't you direct? You're an outlander, aren't you? I can tell. But to answer your question, the Order funds this museum. They, quite rightfully, see it as a memorial to Endralian culture. Walk blessed, my sir.
Yes?
Walk blessed, my friend. You look Oh, really? What makes you say that? It's not like our country is ruled by a group of antiquated conservative clerics who care as little about art as they care for the latest trend in Chilean fashion. But no, you're right. It is unusual. But even a narrow-minded country like Enderal has artists. And those artists need a place to show their work. Which is just what we do. Well, probably because I'm not. My husband thinks running around the city and talking to every peasant who crosses my path will help us get our gallery running again. But that's just idiotic. That's one way to put it. Truth be told, if the Golden Sickle doesn't decide to leave a barrel full of coin on our doorstep tomorrow, we won't be able to pay rent much longer. Especially now that my esteemed mother has decided to play hermit. Wow. Listen to me. A month ago, I would have been too proud to admit this. Now I shout it at a complete stranger. She's a painter. Our best-selling painter, to be precise. Some people even came from other countries to see her portraits. At least before the war. It's hard to describe. She's portrayed half of Ark's nobility by now. At least that's what it feels like. And she does it. The paintings are just so intense. I don't know how else to put it. That's why people are willing to pay a fortune for them. It's crazy if you think about it. Well, what I said. For months, she has not reacted to our letter, nor sent one herself. And what's worse, she hasn't sent us any new paintings. Which is one of the reasons why this place isn't going so well. And in case you wonder why we just don't visit her, my mother was always a little special. And where she resides reflects that. The Dark Valley. You'd do that. That's quite the offer, to be honest. A word of warning in advance. I cannot pay you. That is, unless you're interested in a painting from Prince Myth. But I warn you, they're as bad as his poems. A little detour in a place swarming with undead eager for your blood. Right. I hope you know what you're doing. I really do. But still, I guess I'm too selfish to decline your offer. It's worth a try. My mother and I, we don't exactly have a good relationship. But still, I need to know she's all right. You said you travel a lot, so you have a map with you, right? Show me. So there you go. That's where her hut should be, at least approximately. Good luck, and thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Walk blessed, my sir.
You're not from around here, are you?
Hey, wait a moment. You're the Naramis, aren't you? The Outlander. Well, let's put it this way. I have a pair of eyes here and there, and it's always good to know who comes into this city and when they do so. Help. You're an unfamiliar face, and this is just what I need. Let me make it short. I'm a businessman, and my specialties are the liquid pleasures. Beer, to call a child by its name. In Ark, most inns only pour 2 drinks. On the one hand, my beer. On the other hand, Rivervale Ale. Dalsarker honey wine is what they like to call that swill. Now, the thing is, the Riverville Brewery and I have a deal going. And unfortunately, the new vine dresser respects that deal as much as the Rolata respect the righteous path. Now this is why I want your help. I need someone to aid me in serving some retributive justice, so to speak. A lot. Depending on how good you do, we can even talk about letting you in as a shareholder of my brewery. With small parts, of course. But as I said, that depends on how you do. Now look at that. Aren't you curious? That's good. I like that. It's simple. 7 barrels of beer per tavern and per week from me. 7 barrels of wine from him. No tricks. Correct. That way, we maintain balance. Should an inn order more than these 7 barrels, either I or the vinery inform each other about it first. The fact is, that new vine dresser doesn't care about that deal at all. All he does is walk around saying things like how he'll grow the business, how rivalry adds spice, and other Kalian horse shit like that. And unfortunately, some people seem to fall for him. One innkeeper hasn't ordered from me for 3 weeks, and now pours only ale instead. A lot. Depending on how good you do, we can even— Wonderful! Here, this is a flask of highly concentrated vinegar. Sneak into the basement of Fat Leorin's Inn. That's one of the inns that fool's talked into only buying ale. And pour that into the big mead barrel. And, I probably don't need to say this, but still, not a word to anyone. Get back to me once it's all taken care of, and we'll talk coin.
Oh, hello. I haven't seen you. Oh, a bit of this and that. Feel free to take a look. Walk blessed.
Oi, you're a traveller, aren't you, my son? Just a few words of friendly advice. Keep away from the dark. Cielo Aranthiel has returned. Malphas truly smiles upon us.
Monsieur?
Greetings.
Huh? What do you want?
Huh?
Malphas's blessings.
Chronicles of Lust, presented by the poets.
Walk blessed.
As I stood amidst the sea, before me nymphs of ancient times.
Greetings.
You know the aged man of whom no one knows from whence he came. His house lies on the edge. Ba-da-da-da-da. If you batter
Hmm?
Hello. Is it important?
Huh. You're a traveler, aren't you? Impressive bow you have there. I hope you know how to shoot it. You'll need it these days. Yes? Well, I might, but don't think I'm telling you anything. I know what you bronze-skinned people are like. Always out for more money. Now do me a favor and shove off.
Some shifts never end.
Of course. Especially to people of your kind. Now excuse me. I have to go.
Hello.
Hey! What are you doing?
No!
Just where did I put it?
Yes? What are you doing?
Hello. Is it important?
Now, come on, just a little to the left and... Ugh! Blasted blazes! Oh, now look at that. A visitor. Great. Just great. What do you want? Are you here because of the placard? What? By the 7? No! Don't take it personal, but you really don't look as if you know much about Starling craft. What I am looking for is an adventurer. Someone willing to take over a very important task for Horst and me. Yes, Horst. And no, he is not my imaginary friend, but this gorgeous example of Enderalian metallurgy and starling ingeniousness right beside me. My personal centurion, and soon my new body. Yes, steel instead of flesh, energy instead of blood. Away with this useless shell and its pathetic fugacity. In Horst's body, I will live on forever. Ah, you wouldn't understand this even if you'd been my apprentice for 15 years. If it helps you, just imagine that I transfer my consciousness, my soul, into Horst's body. And by doing this, I become him. Apotheosis, that's what the scholars from Kyra call it. Man's ascent to something higher. A deity, you could say. The only logical response to current events, by the way. Ah, red madness, death of the Lightborn. You don't need to be one of those keepers to see something is happening in this world. It's going south, and other than the Holy Order and his new Nehemi's magically gifted pals I am no friend of, trying to pray away such threats, we need to change humanity. The apotheosis, the overcoming of our fleshly nature, is the first step. Unfortunately, I seem to be the only one who sees it that way. But hey, that's their choice. Oh, with this and that, errands, tasks your rough hands are better suited for than mine. But first, we need to find my assistant, Pathira. She's gone missing. Well, I suppose she took a flying unicorn to old Aranath. I don't know, sod it, else I wouldn't ask you for your help, would I? For his completion, Horst is asking something important. Some kind of steering unit, you might call it. Pathira and I have done research and found out that Dalmarak and his cohorts in Thalgard worked on a machine there that might employ a similar mechanism. Even though I had strongly spoken out in favor of an armed escort to send with her, Pathira had insisted on going alone. And surprise, I haven't heard from her since. Something that makes it the ideal place to go if you're suicidal and you're looking for a quick way out. You're an outlander, aren't you? How can I explain that without going beyond the scope? Dalmarak. Does the name ring a bell? He was an arcanist who lived about 2,000 years ago. Back then, the Order planned to build a second great city here in Enderal, situated in a region we now call Goldenforst. But, as it turned out, the place was everything but a good choice for a settlement. No crops would grow there, and the water made the settlers sick. So 3 years after the founding of the first settlement, Malif, the Order forced the settlers to abandon the mission and return to Ark. But, as things are with vain personalities, Dalmarak, who had been in charge of the mission, didn't like that idea at all. Malaf had been his dream, and so he wanted to hold on to it no matter what the price. One of his ways to do so was a device he called the Sun Wheel, an old Pyrean construction which was meant to make the barren lands fertile again. You can figure out the rest. One night there was a bright flash of light, and since then Thalgard has been contaminated. Apart from a few animals and the Sunborn, savages whose brains have been rotted by the green fog there, it's deserted. In the first few centuries to follow, the fog spread as far as Goldenforst, but by now it's receded from there. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But as I said, she insisted. You know, she's of the lone wolfish type, if you get what I mean. Here, this is the place where Pathira said she would set up her camp. From here, she planned to go explore the nearby ruins. And please don't die, else I have no idea how to get Horst up and running.
'Tis a flame!
100 men they were, as they set out to fight for their country's banner in distant foreign land. He bid her farewell, a love still young and green. She thought she'd soon be in his arms again. He told her, await my safe return, trust in this lost promise and stay firm. Once moonlight shines right onto the seas, we shall love. Return in victory, they marched up, blue banners in the sky and teardrops. We're running from her eyes, yet she fought. If only I believe time will bring him safely back to me. When the red moon casts his light, his ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born, and he caresses her face, yet she feels not his embrace. Dark and red glows the winter sky, two souls divided by the threads of time. Days turn into weeks, moon for moon passed by, yet no word from the battlefields arrived. Months turn into years, peace now ruled the lands, empty graves were dug under the sky. But never did she doubt his last oath. Each night she stepped out into the cold. She walked through the forest, climbed the hill where she had once sworn her love to him. And always when summer bid goodbye and moonlight blood red fell from the sky, his ghost raised from dust forgotten bones, searching forward. He had lost her soon. When the red moon casts his light, his ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born, and he caresses her face, yet she feels not his embrace. Dark and red glows the winter sky, two souls divided by the threads of time. Decades had gone by, her hair ashen and thin, realms had fallen, war and death forgotten. When she walked the streets, they said that she was damned, a victim to a past long gone and rotten. Yet still she did not care for their words. When night came, she prayed for his return each fall. When cold winds hunted their lands, she hoped to once again hold his hand. And as her lost sunset drew close by, she lingered, forgotten in the night. The moon's light shines bright upon her face. She's waiting till her light fades away. When the red moon casts his light, his ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born. And as she closes her eyes, a ray of light breaks through the sky, and her skin turns into dust as her soul breaks from its shell. And and joins them in the sky. Two shapes now freed from grief and time. Then the wind takes them away through the woods and trees this way. And she takes him by his hand, at least in peace they find their end. Dark and red glows the winter sky. Two souls divided by the threads of time. Dark and red glow the winter sky. Two souls united by the threads of time.
Well, aren't you quite straightforward? Most people wouldn't dare ask. I'm a half Quirian, as you've probably guessed, but I grew up here. If I may say so, there's something foreign about you as well. Ah, a Neremes, a rare sight these days. I'd like to ask what brought you here, but the innkeeper will cut my pay for each minute I don't play music. Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
The light fades away at the end of the day. The sun slowly sinks in its nocturnal grave. You're leaving our world. Rising up high to the paths eternal, to the stars in the sky, and we stay behind, alone in the dark. Our lives will be lacking the glow of your spark. Ends and where it begins. In the golden twilight, the release of all strings. You're leaving our world, rising up high to the paths eternal, to the stars in the sky. Now blessed you be till the end of all things. No more toil of life, no more weight on your wings. The circle is closed between birth and decay. Infinite wonders will embellish your way. You're leaving our world, rising up high to the paths eternal, to the stars in the sky. When Malphas calls out, we will hearken with
Malphas blessings, monsieur. Are you looking for something to read?
Your path to eternity.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Beautiful and proud, the ruler of the Undercity, Vatira was her name. She was feared and desired. Beggars, thieves, and murderers were falling at her feet. As mistress of the castaway, she was worshipped and revered. Vintage wine and silken clothes, jewelry and tongue of gods, penny loot and contraband were passing through her hands. Bribe, deceit, and robbery, no means to vile or foul for her. The art of crime she mastered like no one ever had. Beautiful and proud, the ruler of the Undercity. When the night closed in, she stayed sleepless until dawn. And many turned beasts, they visited her chamber. Anyone who quaffed and knew no shame could join her feast. Her heart was empty, cold and sore, yet she craved for more and more. So little virtue left in her and nothing left to lose. No matter who attended her, she raised her chalice in the air. Anyone could feel it, her thirst will never cease. Beautiful and proud, the ruler of the Undercity, her sinful womb bore fruit, and horror grew along. The healers had no remedy, no one could prevent confinement and delivery before the moon had waned. 2 monsters grew beneath her heart, her body it was torn apart. The goat had stilled her hunger with their mother's torn remains. And anyone who was around was killed and stomped into the ground. And ever since the vet tears are tainting our world. Under the...
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Our ancient world seemed newborn in his eyes. No place could keep him, he yearned from the skies. He abandoned the way that Malthus foresaw. He followed a path of his own. And he strayed in the void as the wayward wanderer, despising the path that was meant just for him. Yet the dreams that he sought in the deep red afterglow were as distant as ever before. He did find a home in the city below, where life neither purpose nor honor can hold. The woman who loved him held out her heart.
Hello.
And her suffering tore it apart. 'Cause he strayed in the void as the wayward wanderer, despising the path that was meant just for him. Yet the dreams that he sought in the deep red afterglow were as distant as ever before.
Hello.
Our ancient world seemed as old as his eyes. He had lived his whole life under empty skies. When a little boy asked him for the guiding path, he said, do not risk Malthus' wrath. 'Cause you stray in the void as the wayward wanderer, despising the path that is meant just for you. Yet the dreams that you seek in the deep red afterglow are as distant as they'll ever be.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Hello.
Welcome, be merry drunkards, come along and drain your tumblers 15 times, there will be raised. So we start to count a bank. 1 mug for the joy of being, 2 mugs for the clerics reading, 3 mugs for the needy souls who are always out of dough. Farmers drink and shepherds tattle, bored to death by grain and cattle, merchants, soldiers, whores alike, let the liquor soak the night. Four mugs to the brewer's beer, he's the reason we are here. 5 mugs to our gracious Lord, we'll get hammered in Concord. And the nobles join our drinking, thirsty from their lofty drinking. Workers, landlords, all the same, this night there shall be no shame. Welcome be you merry drunkards, come along and drain your tumblers. My, have you not had enough? Let us start with the good stuff. 1 mug for the joy of being, 2 mugs for the clerics reading, 3 mugs for the needy souls who are always out of dough. Farmers drink and shepherds tattle, bored to death by grain and cattle, merchants, soldiers, whores alike, let the liquor soak the night. Blow some chunks, it doesn't matter. We enjoy the booze and splatter. When we leave this place tonight, none shall be of sober mind. Yet the song draws near a close, let us have a final toast. Here's to life and here's to saucing as we end our night's carousing.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Do you know the aged man who no one knows from whence he came? His house lies on the edge of a solitary cliff. Glow of death and pallid light illuminate the dark at night, gleaming out the windows of the aged man's abode. If you batter at his door, say farewell to the world. For everyone who entered never walked back on the road from the aged man's abode. Notorious of widespread fame, yet no one knows him by his name. The aged man in his abode on a solitary cliff. Ghastly voices speak of pains, the blood is freezing in your veins. Silent cries and wailing howls are fading in the night. If you batter at his door, say farewell to the world. For everyone who entered never walked back on the road from the aged man's abode. Sometimes when the moon is bright, you see him in the countryside, accompanied by loneliness, abandoning his works. If you then stroll in gloomy nights, and peering cold and hollow eyes, you've run across a wooden doll carved by the aged man. If you batter at his door, say farewell to the world. For everyone who entered never walked back on the road from the aged man's abode.
Fine vintage.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Murmuring, whispering, creaking and crackling. Can you hear the voices of the wood in the wind? Can you see the light as it shines through the treetops? Follow the glow, it'll show you the way through the whisper wood, where eternity's echo can be understood. Can you sense the depth of the gnarly root, reaching down to the heart of this world? Things seem so far, and the struggles of life dissolve and fade away with each step through the whisper wood, where eternity's echo can be understood. Can you feel the breath of irrevocable ages? Your senses will slowly fade in the mist. Far in the distance, figures are straying, lonesome and endlessly lost on their way. The whisper wood, where eternity's echo can be understood. Through the whisper wood, where eternity's echo can be understood.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Shivering hands and delirious eyes, brittle voices and manic minds, they roam across the land, spreading terror and dismay. Walls of fire and arrows of ice, before you can blink they have slaughtered you twice. Death is their companion and doom is their delight. Malphas light has never shone on their face. The Arcanist fevers clouded the troubled brains. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards. If they're pointing their fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too. In ruins and caves they hide away, avoiding the sunlight, the brightness of day, uttering curses and hexes into the night. You never know what's beneath their disguise. They're masters of fear, illusion and lies. You won't have a chance to say your final prayer. Malphas light has never shone on their face. The Arcanist fever has clouded their troubled brains. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards. If they're pointing their fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too. If the magical fire flares up in your head, your spirit is filled with frenzy and dread. Don't wait or soon all hell will all be in vain. The journey to water you must take, or else the fever will deform your shape, and you'll end up as a hideous monster, the frightful Blue Death. Malphas light has never shone on their face. The arcanist fever has clouded their troubled brain. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards. If they're pointing their fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Eternally tormented in agony and pain, they're suffering in despair and endless wicked pain. Their life was without path, no faith, belief or creed. Now punishment they'll suffer for every evil deed. Their life was corrupted with depravity. In death they are lost once for eternity. In shame they passed away, and newly they were born. Dead of feeling humbled, they only laughed with scorn. Downfall started over, their lives became depraved, and once their unburned bodies were thrown into a grave, their life was corrupted with depravity. In death they are lost once for eternity. They lurk in ancient ruins, crouching in the dark, striving to lay waste to any living spark. Their bodies are decaying, their minds are full of hate. They're hoping for a holy sword to end their awful fate. Their life was corrupted with depravity. In death they are lost once for eternity. Beware of corruption and depravity, or else you're a lost one for eternity.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
Under the city, deep in the caves, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. No one who ever caught sight of him lived to tell about it. If the holy verses are spoken, and you giggle and caper around, he'll soon wipe the smile off your face, 'cause he ambushes you when you least expect. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the Black Guardian.
Hello.
If we stray from our path, if we lose our way, he drags us down to the endless void below. You search in ruins and tombs for pathless writings and treasures. The earth opens up under your feet. You'll find no gold but eternal greed. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the black guardian. We stray from our path if we lose our way. He drags us down to the endless void below. If you are tree sheets to the wind, you stagger through the alleys of our a manhole cover will open up. One more step and your life will be gone. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the black guardian. We stray from our path if we lose our way. He drags us down to the endless void below. Late in the night, when a pale moon shines over the ruins of art, you'll hear a screaming from deep below, a terrible, spine-chilling cry. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the black guardian. We stray from our path if we lose our way. He drags us down to the endless void below.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
There are only 200 people strong. When Martha's ordered them to come along, follow on my path to another land, where happiness and peace forever dwell. They left and sailed across the mighty sea. They suffered hunger, fear, and misery. Their stocks were running low, yet they endured their woe, praising Martha's wisdom day by day. Go and find the crimson star. It leads you to a land afar. Keep your path, endure the plight, and one day you walk in the light. From waters dark an ancient monster rose, born from malice, evil to the bone. One man took the fight, he sacrificed his life for his people and the righteous path. Go and find the crimson star, it leads you to a land afar. Keep your path, endure the plight, and one day you walk in the light. In deepest, blackest night the guard called out. Their shouts of joy resounded clear and loud. Wonderful and bright, from high up in the sky, a light shone down on another world.
Walk blessed.
See it shine, the crimson star. It led us to a land afar. The righteous path has Easter plight, and now we will walk in the light.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
100 men they were, as they set out to fight for their country's banner in distant foreign land. He bid her farewell.
Which one would you like to hear? Sure.
100 men they were, as they set out to fight for their country's banner in distant foreign land. He bid her farewell, a love still young and green. She thought she'd soon be in his arms again. He told her, await my safe return, trust in this lost promise and stay firm. Once moonlight shines right onto the seas, we shall love. Return in victory, they marched off. Blue banners in the sky and teardrops were running from her eyes, yet she fought. If only I believe time will bring him safely back to me. When the red moon casts his light, his ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born, and he caresses her face, yet she feels not his embrace. Dark and red glows the winter sky, two souls divided by the threads of time. Days turn into weeks, moon for moon passed by, yet no word from the battlefields arrived. Months turn into years, peace now ruled the lands, empty graves were dug under the sky. But never did she doubt his last oath. Each night she stepped out into the cold, she walked through the forest, climbed the hill where she had once sworn her love to him, and always when summer bid goodbye and moonlight blood red fell from the sky, his ghost raised from dust forgotten bones, searching for what he had lost too soon. When the red moon casts his light, his ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born, and he caresses her face, yet she feels not his embrace. Dark and red glows the winter sky, two souls divided by the threads of time. Decades had gone by, her hair ashen and thin, realms had fallen, war and death forgotten. When she walked the streets, they said that she was damned, a victim to a past long gone and rotten. Yet still she did not care for their words. When night came, she prayed for his return each fall. When cold winds hunted their land, she hoped to once again hold his hand. And as her lost sunset drew close by, she lingered, forgotten in the night. The moon's light shines bright upon her face. She's waiting till her light fades away. see when the red moon casts its light. His ghost travels through the night, through the forest on wind wings, till he reaches the old hill. There she kneels before his grave, where their love has once been born. And as she closes her eyes, a ray of light breaks through the sky, and her skin turns into dust as her soul breaks from its shell and joins him in the sky to shapes now freed from grief and time. Then the wind takes them away, through the woods it trees his way, and she takes him by his hand. At least in peace they find their end. Dark and red glows the winter sky, two souls divided by the threads of time. Dark and red glow the winter sky, two souls united by the threads of time.